Finale live on Twitter and YouTube. Tonight, I'm joined by James as we break down everything from this blowout loss to the Houston Astros, including Brian Bayo's first start of the season, the team's offensive struggles, and what to expect going forward. James, how are you tonight? And give me some initial thoughts on today's game.
Yeah, obviously tough one tonight. Not a great start for Bayo. Overall, didn't get through five. Lasted 4 2/3 in this one. 8 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them were earned, 3 walks, only 2 punch outs, and obviously gave up the long ball to Yordan Alvarez, who's just a Red Sox killer. We'll get into that later. But overall, not great. The offense didn't do a ton, but obviously hard to expect the offense to do a lot, when they, really weren't given a chance from the jump. So just tough overall. Hope to bounce back with Crochet tomorrow and salvage the finale of the series.
Yeah, when we were making predictions, we didn't expect the Red Sox to even have a chance in the Hunter Brown game. I think all of us who were on that show picked the loss today. But when you looked like you did yesterday against a game that you should have won, you'd like to see some sort of bounce back and a change of mindset or change of approach offensively, and that didn't happen.
Absolutely.
So we expected it, but we wanted to see some sort of adjustment, and that didn't happen. And we just hope tomorrow Garrett Crochet can go out there and put up zeros and give this team a chance to win, because if he doesn't do that right now, I don't have very high hopes. But we'll get into Brian Bayo's start really quickly right here. My initial takeaways from him is his stuff was good. In my opinion, the cutter and the sinker were really good. The curveball was okay. When he was getting to 2 strikes, he couldn't put anyone away. As you see, he only had 2 strikeouts. He walked 3 guys, but he was doing a really good job to get to 2 strikes. And once he got to 2 strikes, he couldn't get the stuff. The guys were fouling off a lot of pitches, and he couldn't put batters away. And then when he was facing elite hitters like Yordan Alvarez, Carlos Correa, and Jose Altuve, they're going to do damage against that when you can't put them away and you give them many chances to see that your stuff over and over again. So I think the sinker, the cutter, the fastball usage was pretty good tonight. But besides that, the command was lacking. He couldn't put batters away. But, yeah, what were your thoughts on Brian Bayo?
Yeah, I think overall, just looking from trying to look at what he built last year and, what he did in the WBC and tried to see how he would build upon that tonight. A typical Bayo outing, not many strikeouts. Obviously, I think fewer than we all thought, just 2 strikeouts tonight. Pitching to contact as he always does. But, a lot of hard contact. Obviously, the Alvarez bomb, don't want to pitch to him. He doubles in the first inning. 2-run homer later on in the game. That's someone you just want to avoid in general. But aside from that, just not a lot of command in the strike zone. He was constantly not able to put guys away, like you said. I think that was the biggest thing, is like, regardless of whether it's a strikeout or not, just unable to finish the at bat and get the Sox back in the dugout. Only 1, 2, 3 inning tonight. That came in the 4th. Every other inning that he was in had at least 1 base runner. In 3 of those innings, he gave up a run in. So just overall, just never was able to settle into the game. That good point, Will. Should have been 3 Ks for him regarding the Cam Smith at bat. But yeah, just was never able to settle into the game and do his thing. And ultimately, Sox just fell in a hole too quick. And, we have our issues with the offense right now, just overall lack of production. But, if you fall in that big of a hole quick, it really doesn't matter what the score is.
Early on, I really didn't think he looked that bad. When it got to the 5th inning, before he really melted down in that 5th inning where it all unraveled, I thought he looked okay, and I thought there was a chance he was going to go out there and have a good 5th inning and maybe get some outs into the 6th inning. That obviously didn't happen. He got demolished in the 6th. But if you just take away that 5th inning, I think the first 4 innings, besides, that ball off the wall, or was it a ground rule double Yordan Alvarez hit early in the game? And then Altuve had to stop at third base.
Yeah.
That inning was bad, but the other 3 innings, I think he was pretty good. But
yeah,
look, if we both said, he couldn't put guys away.
If Anthony makes an accurate throw on that ball that Walker hit in the 3rd, that could be another run that they cut down, and that's only 2 runs through 3 instead of 3. It limits the damage there. You just never know. But obviously, like, I think the big thing with Bayo is if he can settle into the game early through the first 3, things are going to go really well, even though it wasn't necessarily like worst start ever, getting rocked, 9 runs in 2 2/3. It was one of those where he was a little shaky, just hadn't settled in to this one. And that's typically when things might go haywire later on. It's because he's never going to be a strikeout guy. He's always going to pitch to contact. And when he's pitching to contact, not able to settle in, that's usually, the third time through the order after the first couple of times when teams are really able to jump on him and take advantage. And that's exactly what you saw happen in the 5th inning.
Yeah, I mean, in that top of the order for the Astros is so lethal.
Correct.
1 through 4 at least. I mean, once you get through them, you're smooth sailing. But when that top of the order comes around, it is terrifying to get through those guys.
Yeah, so, 2 more hits. Two more hits for Correa tonight. 2 more for Jordan. Obviously, Pena inserted in the leadoff spot with a hit. Somehow held Altuve hitless. Obviously, walked twice and scored a run. He made his mark on the game. But it was that top 4 the last couple of nights has really done everything for them.
You did bring up the Roman Anthony throw, and it's been all over Twitter lately, talking about his lack of arm strength.
Don't listen to Hubs or whatever other Yankees fans have to say.
It's not even that. It's the throw a couple days ago was really bad. I will admit that was a horrible throw. Today, I didn't think it was that awful. It was a little bit offline, but the throw a couple days ago was bad. I know what you're going to say. I don't think it's an issue. I don't think it's an issue as well. Tyler Milliken put up a tweet about this doesn't look like his 51 percentile arm strength. Do you have any thoughts on that it might be down?
No, we're 5 games into the season. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about what Yankees fans or any other fan bases have to say with trying to troll his arm strength. And that's what I have to say about a lot of things. We're 5 games into this. Has it looked ugly at times? Sure. But it's April. It's not even April yet. We're 5 games into this. Long way to go.
Yeah, April tomorrow. Yeah, I agree with you right now. I think 2 to 3 weeks is when you can start making your first initial impressions about where this team's going to go. We started 1-4 last year, but we really didn't take off until June-ish. So I hope
really didn't take off to that 10-game winning streak in July. Like I get what you're saying when Roman came up June 9th, and then obviously Devers gets traded on the 15th. But really, they were 42-44 until that 10-game winning streak, or 42-43, whatever they were. They took 2 out of 3 in that Red Series, and then they went to DC and started that 10-game winning streak.
I think they really took from the 4th of July when Roman got called up.
Yeah. But like on the 4th of July, I think they were 42-44 going into that 10-game winning streak when they swept the Nats, the Rockies, and then Tampa in that 4-gamer at Fenway. So, I mean, that's really what saved their season last year. And obviously you don't want that same recipe again, because you don't want to flirt with disaster. You're not playing as many division games through May this year. So you'd like to get off on a better foot. But guess what? Last year through 5 games, they had the same record and they ended up being fine. So it's like, you go 1-4 in a stretch, in the middle of August, sure, it stinks, but nobody's truly batting an eye. You might lose a game or 2 in the standings. That's what's happening here. Obviously, it's more magnified because this is all you have to go off of. But, get back with Crochet tomorrow. Let the ace do his thing, and then get back to Fenway, and hopefully the wins will start coming.
Yeah, you want the offense tonight, and I have a graphic that I made. It's strikeouts and swinging and misses for every game of the season. Like we just said, it's only been 5 games, but I think it's really important to highlight how bad they have been striking out and how much they've been swinging and missing. So I'll pull it up right here. Times in 5 games, which is over 10 per game, 104 whips, which is a game. If we break it down here, they had 29 was the most with swings and misses. That was an extra inning game, but if you're striking out 13, 12, 15 times every night, you're not going to have a chance to win no matter what. I just think that nobody's clicking besides Willie Abreu, and he didn't have a great game today. But when everybody's so bad at once, these stretches are going to happen. And I think I said this as well in the offseason, maybe not to you, but I've said it. I expect this team to go through a lot of cold stretches offensively, but they will break out of it eventually.
Absolutely.
This is something that we're going to see throughout the season. I think we're going to see a lot of stretches of 110 whiffs in 5-game stretches, 50, 60 strikeouts in 5, 6-game stretches. So this is something that I think is a characteristic of this team. I just hope they have the pitching to overcome it. That's what we haven't seen so far in the first 5 games.
They certainly have the pitching. They built the team around pitching, whether it's starting pitching or the bullpen. The rotation is extremely deep, obviously, at least on paper. And then you look at the bullpen with the arms they have, especially at the back end. I think what's going to be the bugaboo to this team is the lack of impact bats when you look outside of Anthony. Like, do they have enough? And obviously, this team has a lot of swing and miss in it, and not a lot of on base skills. That's why, despite him being positionless and kind of homeless in the lineup, it's why they got to find a way to get Yoshida in. Whether it's every night, pinch hitting roles, whatever it may be, he gets on base and he doesn't strike out. And that's what they desperately need to break up this order somehow, some way. And I know that you don't want to bench anyone else, but it's like you got to find ways to get creative. Maybe once a week you start Rafael at second, and then you have Anthony, Duran, Abreu in the outfield, and you DH Yoshida. Maybe that's a way to get all 5 outfielders in the game at the same time, with getting his on base skills in the lineup. You just have to get creative and find ways to do that. I don't really know how they're gonna manufacture that throughout the season, but I think obviously a lot of it is predicated on sure, if you swing and miss, but you have the big bats and you have sluggers, that's one thing. But it's like this team doesn't have a true guy in terms of just a pure masher. Like, yeah, Anthony is a great hitter. Abreu, a very good hitter. You have guys who are Duran, obviously, a lot of very good hitters, established hitters, but nobody, outside of Anthony who's, a superstar level hitter, an elite bat. And that's what this order is missing.
So you brought up Yoshida. I don't love him in the 3-hole, but I get why they're putting him there. He's putting up the best at bats so far, besides Wilyer Abreu. And you can even say Connor Wong. But no.
Yeah. Oh, hey, look, no shade on Wong. He has put together, regardless of whatever we're saying about him, he's put together good at-bats so far. And that's all you can ask for.
I think the lineup construction when Yoshida's in the lineup should be Roman Anthony, and then one of your right-handed bats of Story and Contreras, Wilyer Abreu, the other right-handed bat, and then Yoshida. And then I think that will lengthen your lineup a lot more. I think everyone else agrees with that as well. What is the hesitation to putting Wilyer Abreu back in the 3-hole? They did it last year early on in the season. Why won't they go back to it when he's more mature hitter, a better hitter? I just don't get why he doesn't go back to that.
It's probably wanting to have more power in the middle of the order, like when you get down to the 5-6 spot and lengthen it out. Because if you think about Duran, not as much of a power guy. Obviously, I think he's got 20 homer potential. I think he'll get at least 15 this year. But you want Duran's speed early. For guys like Contreras and Abreu, for Duran to get into, if he gets on with a single, get in scoring position for those guys. And you don't want to shrink. You don't want to make the order smaller in terms of the power potential with Duran. Yeah, Abreu in the 5 or 6 spot lengthens it. Having Duran in the 3 spot allows him to still kind of serve as a second leadoff hitter and continue to set the table after Anthony and Story, allows him to maximize his speed to get on base. I just think putting him in the 5 or 6 spot kind of diminishes his skill set, and it doesn't. The way the lineup and the roster is constructed, it won't maximize the value in terms of what this team needs. I get what you're saying, because obviously you want to put your best hitters in the 2 or the 3 spot, but I think in this case it's kind of unique with the way the lineup and roster is built, and you kind of have to put Duran in that 2 or the 3 spot. You don't really want to put him second because you don't want 2 lefties back to back in Duran and Anthony. So you have Story there to break up the left, right, left, and then you go with Abreu 5 after Contreras. Like, I think ultimately that lengthens the order. Probably sees more pitches to hit. With Contreras in front of him, obviously nobody behind him. But if he's not going to see those pitches to hit, he's at least hopefully going to have guys on base.
There's one moment I want to bring up. We talked about it in the chat, and it's Ceddanne Rafaela tapping his helmet for a ball that, I know it's different to say that we saw it live. I thought it was a strike live. He taps his helmet that he thought it was a ball. It wasn't a ball. And then the next thing you know, he strikes out on a fastball right down the middle and he doesn't swing. I just think Alex Cora and the Red Sox need to put a lot more restrictions on this ABS system. It's going to be a big strategy talking point going forward in this whole season for the entire league. You need to have these things available late in games when it gets late in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. And why is Ceddanne Rafaela, a guy that's notorious for not knowing the strike zone, swinging and missing, expanding the strike zone, why is he getting ABS challenges early in the game? there needs to be a tier list, a pecking order made somehow, some way. I'm not in charge of it, but the coaches, staff, the front office needs to put some sort of pecking order of making sure that doesn't happen again. It didn't come back to bite us today, but it will when Ceddanne
I
Raphael is tapping his helmet in the third inning, fourth inning.
I think there will be. We were only 5 games into this, and I think not only the Sox, every team in Major League Baseball is figuring this out. Like who's good at it, who's not good at it, who should we give long runways to? And in spring training, obviously the teams just wanted to get used to it and burn through the challenges. So you'd see everyone tapping the first pitch of the ball game. If they thought it was if it was called a strike and the hitter thought it was a ball, you'd see them tap the helmet. Because and everyone was out by the fourth or fifth inning. That was kind of the point. Get used to it. Didn't really matter. The games didn't matter. Didn't matter when you ran out. I think now teams are really trying to get used to it, get into a rhythm. All right, how selective should we be? Who should we let have a longer leash? When do we need to save them? And then on the flip side, obviously with pitchers and catchers, how much of a leash are we going to give Narvaez and Wong behind the dish to use it as compared to our pitchers? There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. I think they're really trying to figure out, all right, who do we give a longer leash to? How do we use this? How do we manipulate it? And also think about the umpire behind home plate. Like this is the first time. For all these home plate umpires that they're dealing with it. So it's like, yeah, obviously you have years of scouting reports from their zone, but just how they're calling it. And it's like the Yankees got 5 overturned last night. Just consecutive challenges, and because the lower part of the strike zone was being called a strike when it was actually a ball. So it's like getting used to stuff like that. Is an umpire having an issue with a certain part of the zone that you can keep taking advantage of? And if there's not a pitch in that part of the zone, maybe don't challenge it because 2 pitches later in that at bat, you really might need it. So it's like there's going to be a lot of getting used to it. I really think we're going to have to get to the All-Star break before. It might not take that long, but at least a month and a half, 2 months into this before we really see a true strategy and a plan. But it will come. It's going to take time.
Yeah, we have a few comments here. Ken Santos said, absolutely ridiculous. There is no strategy with ABS. Leaving up to the players is the laziest way. And then Will commented here, there will be a metric of weighted value on ABS challenges because regardless of that, Ceddanne pitch result ultimately doesn't matter. Focus on competitive at-bats and less on challenging pitches. I kind of get what Will's saying here is I think I can see that the players might be in their head thinking that, oh, this is do I need to challenge it? Do I not challenge it? Do I challenge it? Do I not challenge it on these borderline pitches? And they're losing focus on the at bat when a ball might have nicked the bottom corner and they're sitting in the back of their mind. Do I tap my helmet? Do I not? Do I waste it? Do I want to get this overturned? And the next thing you know, the pitcher's sitting there ready to go and he's going to drop a curveball on you and you're frozen. That's basically what happened to Ceddanne Raphael today. He challenged a pitch. Next thing you know, you threw it right down the middle and he was frozen. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it looked that way kind of.
Yeah, and I think what Will is saying about the weighted metric, it's like ultimately like whether he's right or wrong in a game like this, the result isn't going to matter. So it's like that's got to go into it too. Of like, all right, just because somebody's percentage might be good, if he's challenging it in a 1-0 game that ultimately goes on to be a 13-3 blowout, how much does it really matter? All that sort of stuff. But yeah, got to focus on having more competitive at bats in general and not nitpicking and focusing on challenging pitches. That's also a big thing. Like go up there and have an approach and swing early in the count because, obviously going into this one, the Sox really had not swung early in counts often and been aggressive. And I think their opponents had, and I think that would be something they could really take advantage of is swinging early in the count, having an approach, looking for something and getting something to drive.
I agree. I think they need to change up the approach completely. The last 2 games, especially, they allowed a lot of fastballs go down the middle in the zone that they didn't swing at. They weren't aggressive enough at. So I agree with you on that. Anything else from the offense today? I know it's just a lot of zeros, a lot of strikeouts, a lot of swings and miss. We could talk about that all night. But no, I expect Caleb Durbin back in the lineup. I expect Carlos Narvaez back in the lineup. I expect a full strength lineup tomorrow at 2:00.
I think flush it and move on to tomorrow. Obviously, tough one for Roman, tough one for a lot of guys, but get back tomorrow, get a getaway day win, and even though you'll lose the series, if you win that game, it's a happy flight home, and you return to Fenway for the home opener with some positive vibes.
Yeah. Do you have anything specific on tomorrow? It's Garrett Crochet Day. Those are days we expect to win every single time he pitches, but if he gives up a few runs, you never know.
Yeah.
Do you have anything specific?
Let let the war pig be the war pig, and need Crochet to go eat and obviously be the stopper. And Burrows in his one outing this year did not pitch well, so hopefully the Sox are able to take advantage and jump on him. But the war pig's got to do his thing, and I truly believe he will. So just get the Sox back in the win column. That's all.
Yeah, I'll say it again. We said it last night, and we said it the night before, I think. No, it was just last night. We don't want Yordan Alvarez to beat us at all. If you have to throw up the 4 every single time he gets in the box, do it. He is the scariest hitter to me.
Yeah,
every time I see him walk up, I expect him to hit the ball 497 feet. That's how terrifying that man is.
Him and Stanton are, I think, the two most Red Sox killers, the hitters I fear most whenever they step in the box against the Red Sox, because so I just get nightmares going back to the 2021 ALCS and Yordan mashed against us. And, every time he's faced us since, he's obviously killed us. You saw that tonight. You saw that last night. But yeah, I would just throw 4 up each time and move on with it, because it's not worth facing him.
It really isn't. I mean, I expect the Red Sox to win tomorrow. I don't expect him to go out there and score a lot of runs, but I think Garrett Crochet is going to dominate. And Burrows is not that great of a pitcher. They have to win. You can't go back to Fenway Park 1-5. It's unacceptable, especially with the teams they played. They didn't play anyone great. The Reds are an okay team. The Astros are an okay team, but they didn't play any dominant teams where they expected to go back to Fenway Park 1-5. So 2-4 is a lot better than 1-5. You got to win tomorrow, no matter what.
Hey, look, last year they were 1-4. And Crochet made that start in Baltimore where I think he struck out over 8 innings. They got back to 2-4, and then obviously they had an extra game before going back to Fenway. They won the Thursday day game to get to 3-4, but hopefully Crochet can do the same thing this year and get him back to 2-4. That's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Also, we have a fully rested back end of the bullpen. I expect those guys to be deployed no matter what tomorrow if it's close. Absolutely. As long as it's not a
and an off day on Thursday, so it's not like they'd have to go back to back. So
yeah, and Whitlock, Slayton, and Chapman are super rest. Chapman, yeah. What did I say? Chapman, Slayton, Chapman. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're completely rested. They're ready to go. I expect them all to pitch tomorrow as long as it's not a blowout game.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to get back to Fenway. It's been forever. I think that's exactly what this team needs. It's probably going to help them hit, getting back to Fenway Park. The crowds in Houston have been kind of dead. Have you noticed that as well?
I haven't picked up on that a ton. That maybe that's just a personal difference, but I thought it was a typical, Astros crowd.
Yeah. I kind of felt like Astros fans show up, and for some reason I felt like tonight especially was dead. Hunter Brown start.
Fair enough.
I don't know. But yeah, I don't got much else for tonight. Tomorrow's a day game. I don't know what time exactly we'll be on, but I think we'll do something tomorrow night. But yeah, excited to see Garrett Crochet pitch. Hopefully this offense,
this offense will wake up. This offense will wake up.
Yeah,
they will. They'll do their thing. They'll get into some sort of rhythm, and they'll get the Sox back to Fenway with a win.
All right, got any final thoughts?
No, I think just do whatever you need to do to win a ball game tomorrow, and get ready for the home opener on Friday after that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Garrett Crochet, I expect closer to 100 pitches. Yeah, I think it was exactly at 80. They'll probably get him to 90, 95-ish. And then he'll be unleashed completely after that. But I expect them to do everything possible to win that game. You have to get back to Fenway at 2-4. I'll flash up a graphic on the screen right now with our socials if you guys want to follow us there, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter. But besides that, thank you for watching. We'll be back soon. And go Sox. Thank you, guys.